What's going on YouTube? It's the Masked Man here. Um, I wanted to do a video on something that I saw yesterday. Yesterday on Kelly and Michael, the little morning show that they have, I saw, or rather I waited, for Holm, to come on and do an interview. Um, she was a guest on the show, and they had a couple of other guests in between her. They had the girl from the Hunger Game, and they had Pharrell, and I had to sit through them talking about their babble because I kind of wanted to hear, what this Holly Holm girl had to say. And then she came on. Then she showed up. She was kind of she had real, thick arms. I didn't realize how tall Holly Holmes is. Now Kelly Ripa is kind of short, but even with heels, Holly Holm is a kind of a tall woman, and she has really like cock diesel arms. Even Kelly made remarks about it. But when she started talking, it was very awkward. I could tell that this is not a woman who is used or accustomed to getting any form of media attention. It's like she was very unpolished. She was very unseasoned. She looked uncomfortable in the first segment when they had to sit down and talk to her. She looked like she couldn't explain herself very well. She looked like she was uncomfortable being filmed. She looked like she was uncomfortable with the conversation. And when they went to the the MMA demonstration where she's supposedly supposed to show Michael and Kelly, the maneuver that she used to win her match with Ronda Rousey, that was even more awkward. That was even more of a clusterfuck. And Michael even had to move things along because you could see that it was getting confusing and it was getting awkward, and she couldn't really understand what they wanted her to do. She couldn't explain herself very well. And this is a sharp contrast to Ronda Rousey. See, Ronda Rousey was a bit of a media darling. A lot of people remark on, how good looking Ronda Rousey is. And I've never been in that crowd. Ronda Rousey to me has always been a woman who looks good for somebody who punches people in the face for a living. It's like if that's the group of women that we're comparing her to, then she look alright. But just, if somebody walked into a party with Ronda Rousey and I didn't know who she was, I really wouldn't be proud of them. I'd be like, oh, okay. So that's your girl. All right. I wouldn't think nothing of her. She wouldn't stand out in a crowd as a good looking woman. And I acknowledge beauty, of every race, So Holly Holmes is not that much better or worse looking of a woman than Ronda Rousey. Some people say that that Ronda Rousey is much more attractive than she is. I don't agree. I think, maybe Ronda looks a little bit better, but not a lot better. But what Ronda had over her is media polish. Ronda Rousey was an amazing personality. She was very charismatic. She could hold a conversation. She could do those little MMA demonstrations very well. It was very fluid. She was, articulate when it came time for selling a fight or promoting herself or promoting the UFC. She was a great brand ambassador. And now that Holm has beaten her, the UFC kind of wants to replace Ronda Rousey in that slot. They kind of want to replace her, and they got to use the current champion because they don't want to lose that demographic. They don't want to lose, the people who watch the UFC, because there was a strong, dominant female that was reasonably attractive and whom you actually liked, who held the title. They want that audience. That's why Ronda Rousey was and maybe still is the highest paid person in the UFC, because she's the most marketable person in the UFC. Now Holly Holmes has to fill that slot, and I think she needs help. I think she needs media training. I think she needs coaches. I think she needs canned responses. I think she needs to practice. And honestly, I don't know how this is going to affect her in the future, as she has to prepare for other fights, maybe the Ronda rematch. All of this stuff could possibly get in her head. All of this, newfound attention and newfound fame and all of these expectations to be funny, to be interesting, to be articulate, to be Ronda now. I think that may affect her, in her career going forward. Now, maybe she just needs to adjust to the attention. Maybe she needs to just get herself comfortable, calm down, really think about it. But I don't know. It seems like that's not who she is, but now she's expected to be that. And I think that, they really need to get her some help. I think she really needs to have people there telling her what to say, rehearsing it beforehand. Things can't be too spontaneous. Everything needs to be planned out beforehand, because when I saw her on this show, it was very awkward. It was almost uncomfortable to watch because I felt a little bit embarrassed for her. Now, I don't know if anybody else saw what I saw, and maybe I'm reading into something that isn't there. But if I can find a clip of her on Kelly and Michael's show, I'm going to post it in the description, and I'm going to let you check it out for yourself. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this subject. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this story. Rate the video, like it, dislike it, be honest. Subscribe to my channel. You can send me an email at mrmassmansbusiness@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/the Mr. Massman. And that's all I have to say about this subject. And I will see you in the next video.